Hi, I'm Danny Knightmare.
And I'm MonsterFace.
And we're horror addicts. Nice castle, freak. Well, if you haven't guessed already, we're going to be reviewing the 2020 remake of Castle Freak. We know it's technically a Fangoria movie.
Yeah, so don't go nuts in the comments and tell us that it's not full moon. We already know.
If I see full moon anywhere in the opening logos or in the credits, then it's fair game for these reviews. Stuart Gordon's original was a masterpiece. He was told to make a movie about a castle and a freak, and he chose to go with H.P. Lovecraft's The Outsider, which is a very short story about a person seeing a deranged, evil figure in the distance, but as they get closer, they realize it's a mirror and it's them, and they smash the fucking mirror. Boom, this movie does that, the original movie did that, quickly done. However, star Barbara Crampton from the original movie, producer of this remake, guarantees that this is going to be an expanded, bold H.P. Lovecraft universe.
Still gonna be hard to top the original.
Yeah, the first one stars Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton, and Stuart Gordon directed. That is an always amazing trio. They made some great movies like From Beyond, and Reanimator, and Castle Freak. I love all three of those. This new movie is in memory of the late Stuart Gordon, who sadly passed away in March 2020. To you, Gordon. This 2020 version is directed by Tate Stasiak, and written by Kathy Charles, who's also one of the writers for the upcoming movie Jacob's Wife, starring Barbara Crampton. And I'm really looking forward to that.
I do want to say that I really dig the music for this movie.
Yeah, the original score is done by Fabio Frizzi, and that guy really knows how to set the mood for horror. And the soundtrack has a couple of songs from Frankie Yarrow. This movie stars Claire Catherine. She's Rebecca Waitley.
Riley.
I'm sorry.
My last name is Riley. Rebecca Riley.
Oh, I'm sorry. That last name sounds familiar. Oh yeah, it's because it's the characters' last names in the first movie. She's basically John from the original movie, because she's the one who inherits the castle this time. But her boyfriend is also now named John. He's played by Jake Horowitz.
Wasn't he in The Vast of Night?
Yeah. In this movie, he's a complete douchebag. And I don't blame the actor, it's more that the character is just written to be unlikable. He's got a weird random crew of drug addict friends.
There's Shelley, and her motivation is basically just to get with John, and she's always a bitch to Rebecca.
Yeah, she was in Fear Farm and Cry Havoc, which I believe is part 4 of the Playing with Dolls franchise. And then there's Chuck, who's obsessed with lizard people.
Like from V?
Yeah. Then there's Larry, played by Omar Sharif
Bronson Jr.
Then there's the professor, who really stands out of this crew like a sore thumb. Yeah, I don't really get why he's friends with any of them. Apparently he's going to Miskatonic University.
Like from Reanimator?
Yeah, see, that Lovecraft universe is opening up right away. So even though I'm not sure why he's friends with John and the gang, he's useful. He's kind of like their Hulk, but with brain power.
We do not need Marco. We have the professor.
Apparently, casting the professor was kind of a nightmare for this movie.
Yeah, everyone reading for the part was sexy and extroverted.
And they didn't want that. They wanted a more shy introvert. And it's funny because this is a Fangoria movie, and a member of the Fangoria production team told the casting director that they needed someone like their staff writer, Preston Vassell. And it's funny, because he's basically who they wanted. And apparently he heard about this, and it ended up sending them an audition tape.
But alas, they did not go with Preston Vassell.
Yeah, maybe he wasn't age appropriate.
Or maybe he just couldn't act.
That's possible. They ended up getting Chris Galuce, who's going to be a young version of Guy Pearce in The Seventh Day.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that movie. It sounds like The Exorcist meets Training Day. Basically, in the first act of this movie, you get some freaky whipping.
And the freak is let off their leash.
Cue the corn.
Feeling like a freak on the leash.
No. Off the leash, not on the leash.
Oh.
Like the original movie, there is a car crash. John is completely wasted.
Yeah, why is she letting him drive?
Get out of the car, woman! If it wasn't bad enough, John thought drink then drive was a way to get around it. He's literally drinking and driving. And of course, they crash, and now Rebecca is blinded. She's basically all three characters from the first movie, because now she is inheriting this awesome castle. So she's kind of John from the first movie. She's kind of Susan because, well, she can't really forgive John for what he did, and she won't put out.
I'm not in the mood.
Oh, come on, you're never in the mood anymore.
And then she's Rebecca because, yeah, Rebecca was their daughter who got blinded in the car crash, so she can't even enjoy seeing the castle. It's a beautiful castle, by the way. They filmed this in Albania. I didn't get why Rebecca was with John to begin with, but I really don't know why she's staying with him other than the fact that I guess she has no family, and now that she's blind, she kinda really needs him. Unlike Jeffrey Combs' character, I'm not rooting for him at all. I'm hoping he dies first. His friends are douchebags. I don't even want them in the movie. And Rebecca, I know she's blind, but I have a hard time even rooting for her.
I just want the freak to kill them all.
So they meet Marku, who's gonna help them sell the castle, though he does seem like he wants to try and talk Rebecca out of it. Marku explains to John what happened to Rebecca's mother.
But was the whipping necessary?
There's a lot of creepy things being set up. Marku's a little creepy. There's creepy stuff that they find in the castle. And Rebecca starts to now get these weird visions and nightmares.
Masturbation dreams, yeah!
Apparently that dream hit the spot, because she's a little more forgiving now.
If those walls could talk.
They can. There's people in them. After being saved by the freak, Rebecca tries to tell John that somebody is in the castle with them. He doesn't want to believe it. She tries to tell him about her visions and dreams. He says that's just what they are, dreams. She knew what color her mom's robe was from the dream. She says it's a red robe. He then tells her it's a blue robe.
Oh, don't start that meme again. I fucking hated that shit.
John's choosing to be stubborn, but apparently it's all getting to him. He needs a fix, so he calls up Marku, who sets him up with the doctor.
The doctor of thugonomics?
No, but that would have been a lot better. The doctor sells him some downers.
That explains why John's such a downer.
Yep. And then John leaves the good doctor there to shoot up some heroin, I guess.
But the freak shows up and teaches the doctor a valuable lesson.
Drugs are bad. You shouldn't do drugs, okay?
Oh, that's a good one, but I got another one. The freak shows up and teaches the doctor a valuable lesson.
This is what happens to your brain after snorting heroin. What your body goes through. Any questions?
Personally, I'm fine with the doctor not being a big character.
His character arc was strong enough for my liking.
All those characters from the beginning are now back to help John unload this shit.
How nice.
Yeah, the only one that seems to really be doing any work is the professor, who gives them some information about a mysterious book they own.
The necro what?
The Necronomicon.
Necronomicon Ex Mortis. Roughly translated, Book of the Dead.
Wait, they didn't know what a Necronomicon was?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Necronomicon was like a household item in everybody's home. What do I know? Now, it may really seem like I'm kind of shitting on this movie, but that's because these first two acts are honestly kind of hard to get through. Not much happens with a bunch of characters that I don't really care about. However, this third act is when the shit really hits the fan and the movie becomes knuck and futz. And for better or worse, I think it's something you should see. I recommend this movie just because you really should see it for yourself and understand if you like it or don't like it. As of recording this, the audience score at Rotten Tomatoes is at 50%. It takes a way different turn than the original movie. And if I'm going to compare it to the original movie, no, I really like that one a lot better. It tells a much more solid story. And even though it doesn't have a happy ending, it has a satisfying ending. While this one is just crazy, and I don't know, there's a bit of a cliffhanger. Are they gonna make more movies? Is there gonna be sequels and prequels and spin-offs? I'm not sure, but I'd kinda like to see it happen. I'm gonna urge you to push through those first two acts, just to see the ending. I can't guarantee you're gonna like it, but I really think you should witness it for yourself to make up your mind. Now that you've been given our rating and a warning for the spoilers, let's talk about that third act, because it is weird. Professor and Rebecca are learning about the old ones, and then John has a fucking meltdown.
It's the biggest bunch of shit I ever heard in all my life.
Yeah, I feel like this scene's been ripped right out of the reboot of Friday the 13th.
I can see that. I mean, the nice girl has a fight with her douchebag boyfriend, so she goes off to solve a mystery with another guy. Meanwhile, that's the chance for the slutty girl to make her move. The professor then verifies the robe's color, and while he's in the wardrobe, he finds a secret passage.
Meanwhile, John finds a secret passage in Shelley.
Apparently all the bedrooms have passages in their wardrobes, because the freak shows up. The freak kills Shelley and decides to disrobe.
Wait, the freak's a woman?
Yep, the freak's a woman. In the last movie, the freak was a man who, well, had a appendectomy, and that's fucked up. But in this movie, nothing's cut off. She's just a freak, and she's gonna take John for a ride. Yeah, I apologize for butchering this name, but the freak is played by Kika Magalhaes. She was also Lavinia Waitley, aka Rebecca's mom.
I prefer without the prosthetics. I mean, I haven't been that grossed out since Mae Young got naked in WWE.
Yeah, I'd prefer her without too, but hey, she does a pretty good job as the freak. I mean, originally I was trying to compare her performance to Jonathan Fuller's, but now that I know that she's a woman, she shouldn't be. I mean, Jonathan Fuller was amazing as the freak in the original Castle Freak, but now I think that there's a completely different story being told here. So I'm just gonna straight up say that she's doing a great job doing her own thing.
Though she does kind of remind me of Lisa Trevor from the 2002 Resident Evil video game.
Yeah, in fact, I think that character was inspired by the original Castle Freak. So in a weird way, it's kind of gone full circle. Rebecca then has another vision where she learns about her mom being impregnated by another freak. Now understands that the freak is her twin sister. Just kind of like how in the original, John's brother was the freak.
Meanwhile, everyone decides to split up.
We should split up now, huh? That way we can cover more ground.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, good idea.
Really?
The freak makes quick work of Chuck and Larry.
Wait, Chuck and Larry? I didn't know that Adam Sandler movie was based off an H.P. Lovecraft story.
Meanwhile, the professor now comes across the path of the freak, and he wants to see it all.
Dude, how many times have I told you? Tentacle porn is the path to enlightenment.
Yuck. John confronts the freak and seems to have the upper hand for a little bit, but Shelley saves her sister and then kills John.
And for good measure, the freak gives him a curb stomp.
Now, as I said earlier in the movie, I wasn't really rooting for any of these characters, except for, like, perhaps the freak herself. So, happy ending?
Wait a minute, I thought your third eye was on your forehead. Is it just different for girls?
Very different. I hope there's more to the story, because it was just getting good. I mean, overall, it's not a great movie, but that ending is the start of a movie I really want to see.
There's also a mid-credit stinger.
West.
Ah, Mr. West is back. See, you know, I was a little afraid the professor was going to be revealed as Herbert West, and I'm kinda glad they didn't have him as Herbert West.
Jeffrey Combs or nothing, bitch.
I wouldn't mind a new Herbert West movie. I mean, I don't really want a remake of Reanimator, but I wouldn't mind a different adventure of Herbert West. And I certainly wouldn't mind more movies, you know, in this universe, especially going forward. I love me some Lovecraft. Everybody's pretty divided on this movie. If you've seen it, let me know down in the comments below, which side of the fence are you on? Did you hate it? Did you love it? Are you just confused and kind of want more answers like me? Let me know. Cut!